it's not what you actually do, but it's what you say no to that is going to make all the difference. Because what you say no to is going to allow you to spend more time doing the things that you love and the parts of the business that are going to get you the most success. So today, what we're going to talk about is how to politely say no. And this came about because I was chatting with a client and we did a podcast the other day. His name's Ollie Lum, great guy, and someone who really values his time and values the ability to be able to say no. And we're going to talk about a bit about his checklist and some of the criteria that we sort of shared, and we chatted a little bit about the podcast. But, you know, as I said, in terms of every level that you go to when you're scaling your mortgage broking business, you're going to have to let go of some things and to say no. And, you know, whilst at the start of your business, you may want to get in front of every particular client that you possibly can, I definitely encourage that for all the new brokers, because, you know, activity can lead into many things, right? Whether you can't hurt that client, you may be able to get to a referral. But there's a certain level when you get to where your time is going to be important, and the things that you used to do, you're not going to be able to do anymore. So you have to be able to really work out, okay, who is my ideal client, and to be able to, you know, politely say no to allow you to work on the clients that are your hell yeses. And so this is what we're doing today, is chatting about that, how to politely say no. So when we look at it, if we, you know, and in my broking career, I got to a juncture where I felt like a bit of a victim of my success. You know, sometimes, you know, doing, you know, 60, 70 loans a month, and you get to the point where, you know, it's not enjoyable anymore. And it feels like work. There's another deal that comes across the desk and it's like, oh, how am I going to fit these in? Even though I had a big team of credit analysts and so forth working behind, it was still a challenge to fit everything in. And, you know, one of the quotes that sort of resonated with me talked about modern day violence. And, you know, one of the curses, and I'll bring the quote up. This is the start of the quote. It's from Thomas Merton from his book Conjectures of a Guilty Bystander. But, you know, it starts off and it says, to allow oneself to be carried away by a multitude of conflicting concerns, to surrender to too many demands, to commit oneself to too many projects, to want to help everyone in everything is to succumb to violence. And it goes on to say in this quote, and again, you can search it up. And again, if you want a copy of this, just type no in the comments below, and we'll ensure that you get this guide emailed out to you. But in terms of this particular quote, it goes on to say that, you know, because we say yes to too many things, it destroys our peace, and it destroys that fruitfulness that we get from doing work when we're sort of in the flow and enjoying what we're doing and have time to do everything. And let's face it, life is about, you know, enjoying ourselves. Life is about not just slaving away for 20 years, but it's about really enjoying what we do. So that's why the ability to say no is so important. So I'll share with you Ollie's checklist, right? He's got some criteria which helps him to say no. And we discussed it in the podcast, but I want to bring it up on. So this is an example of Ollie's, right? So, you know, is the client referred, right? So if they're referred, yeah. Are they local? So again, this is Ollie's criteria. It may not be your criteria. You may have something. Are they not going to need their handheld, right? Are they not going to need their handheld? Is it a self-managed super fund or a high LVR loan? And is the loan size above 500,000? And are they part of my top 100 club? Right. So again, the ranking your clients, that's sort of A, B, and C. In this case, he's got a top 100 club because Ollie realizes that 80% of his income is going to come from 20% of his clients. Right. So in looking at that, in terms of, you can see if he gets a tick, and it says here, if they tick 3 out of the 6 boxes, then it's a go. Otherwise, he may consider whether he takes on this client. And if he does then choose to not take on the client, a lot of people struggle with how to say no. And some of the ways that we discussed, and some of the ways that I'll discuss now, is ways for you to politely be able to say no. And again, if you want a copy of the guide in terms of how to politely say no, just copy no below, and I'll make sure you get a copy of this guide sent out to you. So if we look at the first way where you can say no, right? So it could be, I can't do it justice, right? I'm really overcommitted right now, and I take this on. I'm just not going to be able to do it justice, right? So who can handle that? But if they do, look, I appreciate you got that faith in me, but I wouldn't take on knowing all the other, it would prohibit me from doing an excellent job, right? So that's strategy number 1. And again, it's a nice way to put it. It's nice and polite, and it's the truth, right? So you're not making anything up. So then we look at the second way, right? So it's, again, this is where it's, where you're really flat out, and maybe you got some things coming up where you just can't fit it in. And again, it's yes, but not now. Sure, I'd love to help, but I'm booked out until, and again, for you, it might be next week, next month, 2 months down the track. How soon do you need to get it done? By asking how soon you need to get it done, if people want to get it done straight away, it's a way, again, where they're going to opt out rather than you having to actually say no, right? And if it's one of the ones that, you could potentially do, and if the time permits, again, because, we want to, free up our time so we can make sure, and I see brokers taking on more and more clients when, they might say yes to a 50-50 deal when they've got, tons of A-grade clients sitting there that then they're going to be banked up in the queue because they're going to spend an hour of their time going through and doing a loan appointment with someone who's only a 50-50 client. So that's the yes, but not now. So the next one is, look, I really appreciate you asking me, but I'm afraid I just don't have the time right now to be able to do that. And again, this could be, maybe somebody asks you to do something for your aggregator or for your network or for one of your referral partners. Again, you can use this as a justification. Look, I really appreciate you asking me, but I just don't have the time right now. Right? So again, straight to the point. So another one is, I'm so sorry. I wish I could, but it's just not realistic. If I could, I would, but for, again, whatever your variety of reasons, I can't. However, I can recommend somebody else, right? So again, sometimes you'll offer that help, but they may seldom take it up, right? So that's another one. And then in terms of, again, maybe used in a way, maybe potentially not for a client, but maybe for something else. No, thanks for asking. I really appreciate it. Right? So it's a really clear sort of no, but again, you're then thanking them at the same time and giving them gratitude and saying that you appreciate it. Right, and here's another one. Look, I know I'm going to disappoint you, right? So again, it honors them. It honors that you're going to disappoint them, but my focus is not right now on, whether it be commercial lending or equipment finance right now. However, I can recommend somebody else, right? So again, if your focus is on residential mortgages or your focus is purely on commercial or equipment finance and you're not doing that, maybe the inquiry is for a self-managed super fund loan for a low dollar value. The time and the effort that it's going to take for you to do that. And again, another way for you to politely say no. I know in my business, equipment finance wasn't something that we did a lot of, and because the time factor from doing a complex investment loan to an equipment finance deal which needed quick turnaround, so we'd either do a tick and flick, and Aussie had a tick and flick that we were able to do, or there was also an equipment finance broker failing that only did equipment, and he would refer some mortgages to me, so we're able to sort of send that business to somebody else. So that's the different ways that you can say no. As I say, the benefits of this, when chatting to Ollie, he had written up on his sort of whiteboard, free yourself up for the right ones, right? So, or make time for the right ones, because when you say no to your not ideal clients, what you are saying yes is to the right clients, or you're saying yes to time where you can spend with your friends, for your family, doing the activities that you love, which is then going to give you the creativity and the enjoyment to really add value and create more value, get more referrals, and deal with your ideal clients. So you create a book of ideal clients, and that's really the ultimate goal for a mortgage broking business. So if you want the guide, type no below, so we get used to saying no. I'm Ross Lacane, the founder of the $1 Billion Broker. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.